Have you ever worked under someone incompetent? Someone who speaks incorrectly, performs poorly, and shirks responsibility? Yet they're praised and promoted, while you more skilled and dedicated are sidelined. You start doubting yourself. Am I too sensitive? Am I not good enough? No, the problem isn't you. It lies in how the system selects people. In this video, we'll dissect a modern paradox. Why do the incompetent often hold power? Why are the most knowledgeable and honest more likely to be sidelined? We grow up with a simple belief: the capable will be valued. Study hard, work well, strive, and you'll be recognized. But then you enter the real world and face a harsh truth. Competence doesn't automatically grant power. You've seen it before: someone promoted for flattery, not skill. The loudest voice in the room, not the deepest thinker, gets heard. The one running the show might not even know the rules. Why does this happen? It's not that society doesn't need talent. Society operates not on reason, but on the mechanisms of power, emotion, and structure. The machinery of power doesn't choose the best. It chooses those who best protect itself. Consider this. In an opaque organization, the more competent you are, the more dangerous you seem. You spot issues, ask questions, and aren't easily controlled. Meanwhile, the less capable who obey, polish reports, and flatter the right people are safer in the eyes of leadership. You may be skilled, but do you make your superiors feel comfortable? Do you threaten their position? Do you expose the incompetence they're hiding? If the answer is yes, you'll be pushed aside. It's not your fault, nor is it entirely theirs. It's the fault of a system designed to protect positions, not foster human growth. The more authoritarian and change-averse a system, the more it prioritizes loyalty over ability. The more it leans toward control, the more it eliminates those who dare to question. Thus, power becomes not a reward for talent, but a tool to secure seats for those who play the role. In the next section, we'll dive into the psychology of the incompetent. How do they climb? Is their power accidental, or do they actively manipulate? Have you ever seen someone promoted just for winning over their boss? Not because they're skilled, but because they make the boss feel important. They don't solve problems, they manage emotions. They lack expertise but excel at choosing words. It's ironic. The one who gets things done isn't always chosen. It's the one who makes others feel good. Power, it turns out, isn't given to the best. It's given to those who fit the system psychology. A notable study by Professor Jeffrey Pfeffer at Stanford analyzed hundreds of promotions in large organizations. He reached a paradoxical conclusion. Those who gain power aren't necessarily the most competent. They're the ones others want to see in power. You read that right. It's not competence that creates power. It's emotion and the illusion of necessity. The incompetent often spend more time on social navigation. They know when to stay silent, when to applaud, and whose side to take. They don't tackle complex issues. They say what superiors want to hear, and so they're chosen. Here's the biggest mistake that fools you. You judge competence by confidence. The least competent are often the most confident in the room. This phenomenon is called the Dunning-Kruger effect. Those lacking knowledge often can't recognize their own ignorance, so they overestimate themselves. George Custer, a famous U.S. general, believed he could easily defeat native forces and led his troops into the Little Bighorn disaster. His irrational confidence nearly wiped out his entire unit. Adam Neumann, WeWork's founder, convinced investors to pour billions into a profitless model. He walked into meetings as if reshaping the world, and for a time, people believed him. This isn't just politics or business, it's on your screen. A reality TV star from The Apprentice turned confidence and bravado into a weapon to reach the heart of power. Such people speak loudly, firmly, never backing down, so we assume they know what they're doing. But confidence isn't proof of knowledge. It's just proof of confidence. Meanwhile, cautious people are seen as timid or indecisive. They hesitate not from weakness, but because they grasp the gravity of their choices. Thus, a paradox emerges. The more someone knows they don't know, the quieter they are. The less they know, the more they act like they know everything. This effect distorts how we choose leaders, spokespeople, and representatives. If you've wondered, why them and not me, the answer may not be ability, but the confidence you didn't fake. That's why you need to understand how trust is manipulated, not just by logic, but by the speaker's attitude. What about the competent? They're busy working, exhausted by fallacies, reluctant to perform, and unversed in political games. And so, they're left behind, not because they're inferior, but because they don't fit the social game. If you've seen an incompetent person trusted, don't assume the organization is blind. They may operate on a different logic, the logic of emotion, psychological safety, and the easy choices power often makes. We hate complexity, so we choose those who speak simply. Humans dislike uncertainty, ambiguity, or feeling unclear. When faced with a complex issue, our brains react as if threatened. They want to close the question, find an answer, and stop thinking. Psychologists call this the need for closure, a mental defense mechanism. It's the gateway through which power falls into the hands of those who simplify problems. A seminal study by Kruglansky and Webster in 1996 found that under pressure or ambiguity, people favor those who offer early, decisive, simplified answers, whether right or wrong. They don't need the correct person. They need someone to ease their discomfort with uncertainty. That's why, in meetings, the first to speak and speak boldly is often trusted more than the deep analyst who speaks later. It's why leaders who say, "It's all very simple," get applause. It's why, between a scientist saying, "Much remains unclear," and a demagogue saying, "I have the solution," people choose the latter. Thus, the incompetent who speak simply are rewarded. The deeply knowledgeable but cautious are seen as complex, unclear, or indecisive. You see this daily. Those who answer quickly, even wrongly, seem to know it all. Those who say, "It's unclear," "It depends," or "We need more data," are deemed convoluted. Society thinks it honors knowledge. In reality, it rewards decisiveness, not understanding. And so, the competent are still analyzing. The incompetent have already concluded. Power keeps flowing to those who seem to know, though they're empty inside. Systems don't reward dissent, they reward compliance. Most organizations don't fear failure, they fear being questioned. They don't mind a flawed plan as long as someone takes the blame. They dread questions that disrupt the calm. Why do it this way? What data supports this? Are there other options? That's why the competent, those who question, are often labeled troublemakers, disruptive, or lacking team spirit. A stark historical example is the 1986 Challenger shuttle disaster. Engineers at Morton Thiokol, responsible for the shuttle's booster, repeatedly warned that low temperatures could shrink rubber O-rings, causing fuel leaks and an explosion. They had data, spoke up, and wrote reports. But leadership, under political pressure from NASA and eager to maintain the organization's image, dismissed the warnings. They didn't want delays, disruption, or to seem unprogressive. Just 73 seconds after launch, Challenger exploded, killing all 7 astronauts. The question isn't just, why didn't they heed the warnings? It's, why did the organization foster a culture that silenced truth-tellers? Dissent is risky. Questioning can make superiors feel threatened. Those who disturb comfort are excluded from trust. Thus, the competent, honest, and questioning are sidelined. The compliant, nodding, and conforming are promoted. You see this in workplaces, governments, anywhere power structures exist. People don't choose the truthful, they choose the comfortable. And so, it's no surprise that power lies not with the talented but with those who obey. In any system, there are 2 types of people. One group focuses on doing the job well. The other focuses on polishing their image. The first group obsesses over expertise and real results. The second obsesses over impressing the right people, befriending the powerful, and winning favor. The paradox is, The competent are too busy to climb. They spend time analyzing data, fixing processes, and improving products. Meanwhile, the less capable invest in something else, crafting an image in the eyes of those in power. The story of Lavrentiy Beria in Stalin's Soviet Union is a bitter example. Beria didn't stand out for military skill or strategic brilliance. He excelled in absolute loyalty and reading the leader's psychology. While more capable officers and thinkers faced purges for saying what Stalin disliked or holding independent views, Beria rose. He didn't aim to prove he was right. He proved he was useful to those in power. Step by step, he eliminated rivals, flattered the right people, and ultimately led the NKVD, the Soviet Union's notorious security agency with near absolute power. What of the true scientists, military minds, and intellectuals? Many were oppressed, exiled, or executed not for mistakes, but for daring to think differently. Why? They didn't invest in climbing. They invested in making them dangerous. Dangerous to a system seeking not truth but submission. Dangerous to a system where the most capable threaten the existing order. So, if you've seen someone ineffective yet always present at the right moment, saying the right things, impressing the right people, it's not random. It's strategy. The strategy of those too busy climbing to work. We're easily swayed by appearances, not substance. Have you ever seen someone polished, eloquent, enter a room and everyone assumes they must know what they're doing? No need to check their knowledge or track record. Their look and speech alone convince the group. This is the halo effect, a cognitive illusion so powerful even the smartest fall for it. In 1920, psychologist Edward Thorndike studied U.S. Army officers. He asked them to rate subordinates on various traits: appearance, intelligence, leadership, discipline. The results were striking. Those rated attractive or dignified almost always scored high across all traits, despite no evidence of superior ability. A positive impression in one area triggers a cascade of positive assumptions. Conversely, someone disheveled or inarticulate, despite real competence, is often undervalued. This doesn't just happen in the military. It's daily in meetings, promotions, interviews, classrooms, and social media. We think we're objective. In truth, we don't see the real person, we see the halo we project onto them. That's why the truly capable but reserved or unflashy are often overlooked. Those who perform, dress well, and impress are seen as leadership material. In a society increasingly image-driven and quick to judge, the halo effect is the secret door lifting the least capable to power, not because they perform best, but because they appear to. The incompetent may excel at manipulating emotions and group dynamics. When someone lacks the skill to solve problems with expertise, they control the environment through manipulation. Unable to work, they divide. Lacking stature, they build factions. Unable to persuade with reason, they pressure with emotion and crowds. They don't need to be right just, ensure you don't dare oppose. They don't need to be skill just, make others doubt you. This is how many incompetent individuals survive and rise. They're adept at reading people, exploiting weaknesses, creating insecurity, and using it to control. Social psychology calls this the social proof fallacy. When many follow someone, we assume they're trustworthy, even without rational evidence. The more people nod, the harder it is to say no. Thus, power doesn't come from competence, but from manipulating collective perception, making wrong seem right, the incapable seem credible. The emptier someone is inside, the more they need an external facade, a halo, a circle of supporters, a network of those fearing exclusion. The greater danger is this: when the competent withdraw from power games out of exhaustion, the incompetent seize the space not because they deserve it, but because no one resists them long enough. You don't need to be cunning to survive, but if you don't see the tactics at play around you, you'll be swept up unaware. Next, we'll delve into structure. Why does modern society, despite information, education, and democracy, still favor those already in power over the competent? Systems are designed to preserve the seats of those at the top. We're taught society is a level playing field. If you're capable, you'll get a chance. But reality isn't so simple. Modern society, despite claims of transparency and democracy, hides layers of covert power shortcuts reserved for those already inside. Those in power don't just have a voice. They have networks, privileges, information control, and crucially ability to rewrite the rules to stay on top. At the peak, you don't need to outshine others. You just need to ensure no one can topple you. History offers a clear case. France's King Louis XVI, before the 1789 revolution, used every means to cling to power despite failing to govern effectively. He suppressed dissent, taxed the poor, and rallied clergy and nobles to protect his throne. He didn't rule for efficiency but for fear of losing his seat. Yet, the more he clung to power without reform, the more he rotted the system from within until that power betrayed him. The lesson isn't who was right or wrong. It's that a power system, once held by the incompetent, resists anyone threatening its position or talent alike. This is why the competent rarely rise. The system isn't built for them to win, it's built to ensure those in power don't lose. Do you see this at your workplace? Decisions that seem irrational but follow a logic of power. People who underperform yet remain untouchable. We're not just facing incompetent individuals. We're facing a structure that shields incompetence under the guise of stability. In the final part, we won't ask, why do the incompetent rise? We'll ask a bigger question. What must the competent do when pushed out of the game? We've explored a paradox. The incompetent hold power, while the capable are often sidelined. Not because they're inadequate, but because the system prioritizes compliance, control, and safety for those already in place. If we don't see this mechanism, it will persist. The inept will retain power by playing the right role. The capable will stay silent, unwilling to fight pointless battles. The result, society's critical decisions will keep being made by those lacking understanding, but brimming with certainty and trusted for it. Yet all is not hopeless. History has turning points, moments when the capable don't retreat but step forward, reshaping the system from within. You could be one of them. You don't need to mimic manipulators. You just need to stop standing on the sidelines. Learn to understand people and organizations. Master smart dissent and connection. Build trusting communities where the capable aren't isolated. If you've doubted yourself, remember, it's not your fault. You're living in a system with flawed criteria. Today, you've seen it clearly. Tomorrow, you could change it not through rebellion, but through persistence and mastering the game better than those in power. What topic do you want us to explore next? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Don't miss our next video at 7:00 p.m. on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Brothers, let's light up the world, starting today.